where the chicks is thicker. Reppin' for the team, that's the bench of Houston sippers. She don't want your liquor, she don't want your chipper. She poppin' for a legend, that's a real masa flipper. This is for la raza, this is for la raza. I'm in my trap, casa whipping up the damn masa.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the What Did He Said podcast. I'm your host, Chingo Bling with the Big Tamarindo. Shout out to my co-host,
Marisol.
Rob GTV.
And today we have a special guest, man. You know, he had to go do all the Larry King shit first. You know, get the Will Smith shout outs out the way. And then come fuck with, you know, hit the hood one time, man. Fresh off of Netflix. It's called Vagabond. Go watch it. Give it up for the homie, Amer.
Woo!
Thank you for having me, man. I hit up the hood all the time. I just go buy my weed and get the hell out. That's usually what happens. Zip off. Yeah, this
one
is my
purpose
hood.
only.
I mean, one of my hoods. Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Spent a lot of time out there for sure. PABA, Progressive Amateur Boxing Association. On Elgin and Dowling. I believe Dowling now is Emancipation.
Yeah.
Yes.
I got changed.
Yeah, it's no more General Dowling. It's no more Confederate.
That's why they changed it. No, seriously.
Yeah.
That's why they changed it though. It's
Makes
crazy.
sense. That park is insane. You know why people are coming.
Oh, yeah, we going. It's like, you could tell that's the first thing to get gentrified.
Now, you want to hear a funny story? The other day I was walking my baby and I come back and I told Chingo, I said, oh my God, I saw a white lady walking her baby in her bob. I said,
Stroller.
A bob stroller. I said, I think it's happening. I said, white people are finally coming in. They're for real. They're serious.
They've been coming in. They've been in right in the hood, like in urban lofts. They put them right across the street from like crack houses or
homeless.
That was like
camp.
8 years ago.
Well, that was our purpose of buying
Moving
out here.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's like, as an investor, it's like, it's not changing fast enough. I want to see some progress.
I'm sure this is the same pitch a real estate agent had. Like, well, Chingo, this is what you want to do in this area.
It's actually the museum district now. It's expanding. Like, they call Fifth Ward North Edo. North Edo, right? Northeast of downtown.
Yes.
Oh, northeast.
That's the real estate. How they're marketing.
Second ward, because see, I know you've been moving around, so I don't know if you on up to date with how they rename and shit. Like second ward is Edo, which is east of downtown,
and now there's Edo Edge,
which is Denver Harbor, right off I-10.
Sounds very New Yorkish.
Yeah.
You know? Like
So,
Soho. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about New York because I noticed on the credits on your thank yous, you shouted out the Comedy Cellar. Did you do like did you move out there? Did you do some work out there?
So yeah, this is like a question that I've been toiling with for the last, or answering improperly. I don't know how to answer it the last 3-4 years of my life. You know, I've been doing stand-up 20 years and, you know, I started out at the Comedy Showcase, and Laugh Stop was the first place I did stand-up in, and, well, in a comedy club. I started when I was like 14, and in high school, at A-Leaf Hastings High School. Like, my teacher's the one who got me to do stand-up, so I stopped skipping class.
Oh, in front of the class? Like jokes?
Yeah, I was skipping like crazy. My dad died, and I just started skipping. I just like, whatever. You know, I was selling like fake Rolexes, and I was making a decent
so that's real. So that joke is real.
It's very, very real.
He became the Rolex connect to the hood.
I was like the guy, hey, do you know somebody? You know, because Arabs, we just like...
Fucking
know everybody.
Yeah,
we know everybody on Harwin. You know, that was like the thing. You know, this is the first, you know, I've seen my dad before he passed away. When he came here, he was just like, you know, introducing me to all these wholesale people, and then his friends just took me in after he passed away and gave me jobs, and I just that's what I did. You know, so
That's a big part of the culture, right? Like that merchant trade.
Yeah, I mean, entrepreneurial spirit, I would say.
For sure.
You know? Very much like we are entrepreneurially blooded, if that's even a word. But yeah, man, that's what I did, man. I started skipping like crazy, and my English teacher gave me a shot, man. She's like, don't you want to be a comedian? You can't be failing high school. I was like, yeah, it'd be devastating, actually. And she was like, how would your father feel? I was like, oh, right to the corazon. like, you know, he just died 2 months ago. Why are you saying this? You know what I mean? Like, so, and then she let me do stand up, and I stopped skipping, and she changed my life.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah,
that's an awesome story.
I would get out of other classes like throughout my years in high school to do. I did 3 shows in one day for my Spanish teacher for an extra 20 points, all for my grade, because I could speak Spanish well enough.
How many minutes you had back then?
I didn't have anything. I would just put on a little jacket, and I would go in front of the class and improv as Chris Farley. You know, fat guy in a little jacket.
Yes.
And I would just roast the kids in class. That's all I would do. And then I would write some stuff here and there, and I would just do actual stand-up. But all of it was riffing. It was just like, yo, what do I want to talk about? And I would just start doing it early on.
Dude, I met you through Juan Villarreal when I was starting in stand-up. It was probably about 4 years ago. So, I still got my white belt. But imagine what a blessing to start so young. Like, anytime I meet, like, a few comedians who started, like, I was 15. Like, Jesus Sepulveda, he's like, I was 15 years old, and I just knew. I'm always like, dang.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I didn't, like, choose it. It was just like, happened.
The game chose you.
Well,
it was just more like, I believe in God. You know, like, I'm a believer. I believe in a higher power. And I believe in just the energy and the way it moves and the way it's hit me throughout I was born. I didn't create myself. I don't know where these things come from, these instincts come from, but I can tell you that when they're real and they're strong with me, they've been right. So that was like a thing I saw. This is a taboo name to say now, but in February of '91, my brother took me to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo and saw the band Alabama and Cosby.
Okay.
And that was my first introduction to stand-up comedy. And I knew right away, I was like, I want to be a comedian. And I looked at my brother, I was like, I want to be a comedian. And he was like, shut up, dumbass. Yeah. I was like, no, for real, you don't even know. Like that's how it felt. It felt super real. And 4 years later, I was doing it. It was crazy. I mean, not to the, comedy club standard, but it was still like getting reps.
Did you kind of already know how to write like comedy, like structure wise? Did you understand it already?
I think it's just like a natural cadence that I had, just like things that I would pick up on and people would laugh on it. Yeah. And it's just the way I was saying things. It wasn't necessarily like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. It was just like, hey, this thought. Oh, I didn't know this line was a punchline. But cool. Yeah. It's just like, so I started learning that way.
One thing I noticed, bro, in your special, which we thoroughly enjoyed, watched it again this morning just to, finer tooth comb, like had some notes and stuff, is how many accents you're able to pull off. Everything from like the ESL teacher to the Japanese, comedy. Like you did. I just lost count. I was like, holy shit. Like this is a big part of your arsenal. Like from the Chinese lady, fuck question.
Yeah, fuck question. I almost called the special fuck question. I almost did. No. Actually, Chappelle was telling me you should call it first question because he introduced me in the special.
Yeah. His voice.
It's his voice, and he also came out and surprised the audience, which is not in the special. It was cut out, but maybe at some point that footage will surface. But what he said was just like it made me cry afterwards. But it was just like it was like a very, very powerful moment for me, for sure.
So he introduced you.
He introduced me. Yeah, he was side stage, and he actually, when they started chanting "Mo Mo Mo" in the beginning. So that was the second show. So Dave went on only for one of the shows. So we were backstage, and I was like, yo, as Dave was like, would you introduce me side stage? This is like 30 minutes before kickoff. He was like, yeah, man, whatever you want. Hell yeah. I was like, do you want to go on and surprise the audience? He's like, yeah, man, whatever you want.
Did he do time?
Yeah, so my manager, who used to be Dave's manager, and they're very close friends, and he said, they're like brothers, actually. And he goes, why don't we split the difference? Why don't you just go the second show and just introduce Mo side stage the first show, and the second show, you come on, and surprise the audience. And so he told me he was going to do like a hype set, a comedian's equivalent to a hype set. So he went on stage and told them about our history. And he was like, my baby's growing up, that kind of shit. He was like saying, we've done over 600 shows together. And I didn't even know we did that many shows. I couldn't hear him when he said it, but the conversation that was happening before he went on is like, how can Dave be on stage and introduce me off stage as well? It's not possible. So Dave is talking to the director. He goes, Stan Lathan, who started Def Comedy Jam. He's like a legend. And he goes, Dave's just telling Stan, he goes, listen, this is what we're going to do. I'll go on and I'll say Mo Amer at the end, of course, and then people are going to think that Mo's coming on. Mm-hmm. He says, don't let it sizzle. Mm-hmm. Let the crowd wait. Yeah. So I didn't know this conversation happened at all. I have no idea. I got like 4 hands on me, like lip brushes.
Sure,
checking the hair, making sure that it's the same as the first show. The clothing, they're wiping the bottom of my shoe.
Sweat, I couldn't even back of your knees.
Sweating crazy. It's so hot in there. It's a 100-plus-year-old theater. I was sweating the storm. You could see at the end of the special, I was dying.
He was hitting that tower every 2.
I was hitting that. A lot more than that, bro. I was pausing a lot, so for editing purposes, but they were all over me, and Dave was out there talking, and then he walks off. He says, Mo Amer. I was like, okay, I get in my queue. I'm waiting there. I'm like, yo, what's going on? And Dave tells him, he goes, wait like 30 seconds, a minute. Just wait like a minute and then start the show.
Let that whole simmer.
Yeah, but I'm like freaking out. I thought something was wrong because I don't know, because the music came on. Nobody told the audio guy, so it comes on. And so people are like, shit. Oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
People are like scared a little bit. And I was scared. Shit. I'm sure the people were scared too. And this guy was like, oh, yeah, you heard murmuring. I heard like a solid, 20, 30 seconds goes by. And then one guy goes, Mo! He's sick of waiting.
Yeah.
And this guy goes, yeah, Mo! And then it starts a whole damn chant.
It speeds
and
up.
I'm sitting there like, I didn't chant my name.
Yeah.
I literally was crying, bro. I was
Fuck
before the set because my mom's out there.
Yeah.
And she killed me because I walked out the first show. I looked out at her and she's bawling. I was like, Mom, I haven't even said hello. You killing me. I get emotional thinking about it. So that's Dave's doing. He created that energy in that crowd, that second show, and people went crazy.
Bro, my favorite moment, I texted you this, is after the story about your mom and they pan to her and you're just like, this is all for you, Mom. And just from like a fellow immigrant, not so much refugee on my part, my parents found a way to finagle the border, shout out to Chapo's Tunnel. But,
shout out for sure, man. I'm addicted to that show, by the way.
Oh, I'm obsessed with it.
I speak Spanish like I'm being chased by the DEA. I like how they say DEA. It's DEA. Pinche gringuitos.
Son de la DEA.
Son de la DEA. Exactamente, cabrones gringuitos. Socios es negocios es negocios.
A la verga, esos pinches gringos. Lo que va a pasar en el gabacho es más peor. But dude, no, honestly, that was my favorite moment. It's like, dude, like you're like, it's all for you. And then just hearing all the shit y'all went through. Like, I even started Googling, like, there was a part where it had to do with, like, Germany and stuff. I Googled Germany and Palestine relations, and then Israel and Germany came up, and I'm trying to, like, piece it together. And just all the stuff y'all went through from, like, Saddam Hussein and the story about them fucking with y'all on the bus and your sister. And I was like, holy shit. That's the original.
That, like, that story, when it paired to your mom, though, I low-key just got a knot in my throat. And I was like,
yeah,
okay,
I'm getting emotional
this is like a comedy special we're watching. Why do I have a knot in my
laugh,
throat? You know what I'm saying?
cry.
It was like, oh, my God. Gangster.
She's a gangster.
No.
And that's like
gangster.
A gangster.
Seriously.
Like nobody can fuck with. Like,
nobody.
Give me a break.
No.
I hear women like complaining or guys complaining in their marriage about like, oh, you don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, shut the fuck up, man. You guys have a beautiful house together.
Yeah.
You have kids. You can go get any food delivered to you at any moment in time. You got Amazon Prime, bitch.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up and be happy and be
Genius,
grateful.
though. Like, who thought of... Like, it was like...
She's a guy. Like, what she did, also, my father was, like, taking before... So, my dad died young because he was, in my opinion, obviously I can't prove anything, but he was, like, in prison for, like, 50 days for no reason. They thought he was, like, a spy. They were just collecting Palestinians in Kuwait that stayed over there. And my dad was a little open, probably with his political opinion. That's like us saying, fuck Trump, you know, or something like that. Imagine just getting picked up because you just said that, you know? Right. The whole idea of freedom of speech exists, why people seek it out here in America. So, my dad, which I didn't know, was being, you know,
like persecuted.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't good. I found out in my like mid-20s when my immigration attorney handed me this paperwork, and I was just going through it, and I see pictures of my father, you know, with cigarettes put out on his leg and stuff like that. I was like, wow. I was like, this is just like killed me. I was like, oh, this is what killed my father. Him being, you know, his not being treated the way he's supposed to, losing everything overnight and having to endure such pain, of course.
Sure.
All of my dad's friends like died young. And when he was taken away, like my mom, we don't know how she did it to this day, how she got him out. Like, we don't know. Mm-hmm. There was like some ransom involved and she did that. Like, she was by herself. It was her and my brother because she got us out first, and she left my brother with her, and they had cousins, of course. They were all together, and at some point they all got out and were in a building when the U.S. came in. I wasn't there for that part. But man, she did that. Like, we don't know how she got my dad. Like, she met him, they let him go in her custody, she paid the thing, and they left.
Crazy.
I'm like, I don't know to this day. And God knows how many things that she did that I'm not aware of. So she's a gangster, and she deserved
man,
that dedication.
For real. When you said like genius, like cut the seams of the purse and put money in there.
Explain what a money belt.
Yeah, so I remember to this day. I'll never forget it. It's just a white band. It was like the thing that you put around to support your back, you know. And she cut them a certain way, and then she folded them, and then she
like a stash spot.
Yeah, she just like sewed each like a little square, lines of them across the board, and she put equal amounts of money and put it on as a strap, and then put layers of clothing over it, and did it a certain way, I'm sure, where you can't feel it if they pat you, but they weren't searching women anyway.
The crazy thing, man, is like you were saying earlier about, Americans, how spoiled we are. We have access. You could order some shit to your doorstep, and to not be grateful, it's like a reminder of like, you're lucky you don't have to make a money belt. You're lucky you don't know what the fuck a money belt is. And can you imagine?
Access to water, bro. The fact that you can walk over and just take a shower for like an hour and not care, and just
know that your money's safe in the bank. That there's not going to be a panic.
For now,
that we know of. Yeah.
Until you lose it all, bro.
You'd have no fucking.
Until you lose it all, you're like, maybe I should have a stash of gold or something. Until you lose it all, and that's what my mom was always like preached to me, and that's why I wanted to dedicate it to her, because it was definitely her commitment. It's definitely her commitment and her determination to make sure her children are safe.
And like the faith and the spirituality part. I could, you could tell, man, like you were just super humble. You're so grateful to the crowd, and and like you say, your spirituality is a big part. I'm sure that's got to play just a big role in how you approach, 20 years of comedy, and you're just grateful for it all happening, like the Will Smith thing. Yeah. Do you know Will, or how'd that come about?
So that's a crazy story too. So I'm in LA. And I can't remember what we were doing. I think I was doing all this. Yeah, I was doing all this pre-special stuff. I was meeting with Netflix and stuff like that. And Chappelle happened to be in town at the same time. And since I've been opening for Dave for all these years, and obviously we just hang out. He's my boy, and we're just hanging out. And he goes, "Hey man, he does a lot of pop-up shows. He, it's kind of like amazing to just I'm gonna do a show at 6. Let's announce the show at 6 p.m.
Sold out.
Yeah, seconds later it's gone. Right? It's crazy." But LA shows are very special because you don't know who's going to pop in. Yeah. Everybody loves Dave, and like a wide spectrum of people do. So he goes, "Hey man, why don't you come to the Peppermint Lounge?" I was like, "Cool, we're going to have a good time." I was like, cool. He's like, "Can you make it?" I was like, yeah, I have a flight like at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm filming that Hulu show. And right before I leave, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I'll come. I'll just change it to like a 1 a.m. flight, so I'll make the set and I'll just leave," right? So I walk in. The Peppermint Club is small, probably holds like 120 people. They're all stacked in there like sardines. I couldn't even like look in there. You walk in right into the green room. It's like a little small, very small space. So I walk in. I was like, "What's up, Dave?" Look over to my right. "What's up, man?" Look over to my left, and I see Will Smith.
What the
Just
fuck?
nervous. That's the weird part, right?
Will Smith is nervous?
Yeah, why is he nervous, right? Just a little, not super nervous, but just like you could tell, like he's just kind of jumping around a little bit. He's just kind of feeling it. He's in his head.
Don't tell me he's trying to stand up.
So he is. So I walk. That's the story. Yeah. So I walk in. I look over to my left, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's my dude, man!" I was like so excited on the inside, but on the outside, I'm like, "What's up, man? Good to see you,
Fresh
bro.
Prince?
Yeah.
What's up, bro? I'm a huge fan. You know what I mean? What's up, man? Good for you to join us. Why are you nervous?" He's like, "I'm gonna do a set." I was like, "What?" And then Dave was like, "Yeah, man, it's just part of his 50th birthday bucket list."
Oh wow.
He has a bucket list for his 50th birthday, and he's doing it as a show, and it's one of his things that he always wanted to do stand up with Dave Chappelle.
Wow.
So he's been working on this set for a hot minute, and he's gonna do it. I'm like, my God, this is an amazing night. Then John Mayer walks in.
What?
I was just about to ask you if you got to meet him.
Oh yeah, we've hung out. I don't want to be. Yeah, we've chilled at his house. Pinch me, please. And then he comes in. I was like, "What's up, John?" I've seen him many times. I love John. He's amazing.
My favorite.
He's
favorite human.
He's amazing.
That's amazing.
He's an incredible person. Everything you see is true. That's the way he is, bro. He lives that way. So I was like, "What's up, John?" And then Jon Stewart walks in. I'm like, "What's up, John?" And I did a tour with John and Dave here. Actually, we were doing Texas and done shows before together. And I met John at Radio City Music Hall when I did shows with Dave at
Jon
Radio
Stewart?
City. Jon Stewart. Okay. Yeah. So I met him at Radio City Music Hall when I was doing shows with Dave. Dave did like a 16-show run at Radio City Music Hall in New York City, and I did 6 of those shows. And the first night was Chance the Rapper, Jon Stewart was the surprise guest, myself, Hannibal Buress, and Dave.
Oh yeah, I've seen pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, so then I earned his respect that night. John was like loving me. We connected instantly, and then fast forward a year later. we're all in LA now. Crazy situation. Will Smith's right there. Then Michael Che walks in, my boy. Then Michelle Wolf was there. And then my boy Donnell Rollins, who's really like my homeboy. I love that guy so much. He's one of the realest in the game. Who else is there? Oh, Cat Williams.
Oh,
Cat
shit.
Williams
Oh, my God.
Along with Will Smith and all these motherfuckers.
This is all everybody in this little ass
That's the audience.
room.
Yeah,
That's who's in the green room, bro.
Wow.
That's like who's everybody apparently is performing. So Dave's like, I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna go up first. So Dave, I was like, why are you going up first? I thought, I thought you always last, bro. What are you doing? So he's like, nah, I'm just gonna host and fuck around. I'm just gonna have a good time. This is my night. I can do whatever I want. That's the whole thing. I'm just gonna go up cold. So he goes up cold. Then and then John joins them, and then they decide on the spot they're gonna co-host together. Dave will lead. John will be on guitar, and they'll play together because they do a show together anyway called Controlled Danger.
That's John Mayer.
John Mayer, yeah. So then he goes, and then they're doing the lineup. I was like, damn, I got a 1 a.m. flight, man. Fuck this flight. I was like, I don't want to leave now, bro. I gotta I can't just leave, can I? So I just had it, and I booked another flight as a backup, just to see what would happen. And then Dave goes, Will's gonna go up. I'm gonna go up. And then Ashley Barnhill went up, she's a young comedian. She went up, did a little set, and then the show like really just kicked off. And then what do you call it? And Will Smith goes on. Crowd goes bananas.
Surprise.
Everybody's a surprise, right? Bananas. Like race losing their minds.
So people who are in the audience, they just randomly chose to go out that night. Just have no clue,
randomly,
right?
they think they're just getting Dave.
Okay.
They're getting Dave Chappelle show. That's what they're getting. That's what they're there for. They're there for Dave.
Okay.
And the Dave experience, right? So they don't know who's back there, but they know there's definitely celebrities back there.
Tupac.
Selena.
He's Selena and Tupac did a duet.
So it's crazy. So Will goes on, smashes.
Wow, he did his thing, huh?
I mean, like killed, bro.
Wow.
Legit killed. Punchlines.
He had like a staff of writers stashed away for like a year in
It
his
is
basement.
what it is. He still delivered, bro. It was crazy. He killed it. Then John goes on, and I'm back there like, who's going? I was just like, let me at him. To me, in my opinion, at that time, just my assessment. Forget about like feelings. Just take your feelings out of it so you don't get like anxious. I was just like, this got to be the sweet spot. After all these guys, you're gonna go on, and then you're gonna just like make fun of the whole situation and kill. And then there was just like a point where I didn't know who's gonna go on. They still think I have to fly out. Donnell asked Dave in front of Michael, and Michael told Chase when he told me this. He goes, "Who's on next?" He's like, "I'm gonna put Mo next." He's like, "Well, if Mo's not ready, I'll go on." And Dave looked at him and goes, "That nigga's born ready." I swear to God, bro. I was just like, I want. And
that should be the name of your next special.
Nigga's born ready. And then he goes on stage and he introduces me, and I have a phenomenal set. Will's at that point sitting in the audience next to his wife, and I believe his manager and friend and his mother-in-law. I forgot who was all there with him. It was such a crazy packed night.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's how that went down. And then had a just smash. Freestyle the first 3 minutes. I think that my opening line was like, "Man, you guys are getting such a great night. John Mayer, Dave Chappelle, Will Smith, Jon Stewart, and now DJ Khaled." You know what I'm saying? That was my opening line. It was just bananas. And then I did like 7 minutes, and I got the hell off stage, and I changed my flight immediately and chose to go out in the morning and go right to set instead of like leave that night. So then it was just amazing, bro. Then everybody else went on, smashed, and Che to Wolf to Donnell Rollins ripped the room, and then Cat Williams went on stage at the end and just murdered for like a solid 30 minutes, just murdered. And then we had a jam session at the end where Cat Williams was like freestyling and everything. And that was it. That was the night. And we
that
left.
was it, huh? Just that was
left.
it.
Epic.
That was
Epic.
oh my
Fucking
god.
explosion going on.
Yeah.
Pyrotechnics everywhere.
Yo,
Yeah.
so going back to the New York question. So as a young Houston-based comic, what was your first like journey outside of the city? Like, all right, I'm gonna go to LA, or where did you go?
Yeah, I took a different strategy. So Danny Martinez, which I'm sure you know, he started the Comedy Showcase many years ago. He was my comedy mentor. I left the Laugh Stop, went to the Showcase, took me under his wing. He was like, "Look, you're gonna be he told me this. He was like, "You're gonna be my last student. I see a lot of future in you. Blah blah blah. If you listen to me, you're gonna be very successful." but it's going to take 20 years. Wow. And he says, if you don't listen to me, I don't want you to be a part of this. Don't waste my time.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, no, this is what I want. Yeah, 20 years, fine, sign me up. You know, like I was just like in. So he was just like, you need to go on the road, earn your wings, all that. So my first ever tour, I was 18, had no business probably going on at that time. Danny had a longtime friend and comedian, Dennis Fowler. Dennis Fowler was going to go with him. He canceled on him. And I was like, take me, please, take me. I'm ready. Right?
I was born ready.
Yeah, it wasn't for that trip, bro. That thing was next level. We went I wasn't ready for these like really shitty one-nighters where you don't know what's going to get and you go on cold and you have to control and command the audience out the gate. I mean, it had good sets. One of the nights, like, I killed. And the rest of them were just like work. I worked hard. And then we ended up in South Dakota and some at the Ramada Inn at Stephanie's Comedy Club. I'll never forget it. And the first show was good. It was a bunch of old people, but it was like good. And I did, decent to like 25 minutes. I thought I was king. And then
as an 18-year-old.
Yeah. And then wait for the second show. The second show was all bikers. And they were passing around, I'm not kidding, with women sitting on them, tattooed up as stereotypically as you can imagine. They're passing around, the boxes for the old porn tapes. They're passing around like freely. I'm just like,
while you're performing, they're exchanging porno tapes.
Pre-show, during the show, they're like trading them like baseball cards, bro. And I go on stage and I'm dying. Like I'm dying badly because I can't help but think that these people might murder me at any moment in time. Like I die and I forget everything. I did like 10 minutes and I forgot my set and I got off stage. And Danny was like, ready, huh? 10 fucking minutes. Ready? I got to go up and do an hour 20 to fulfill this contract. I got it. Ooh. So Danny goes up, professional, spanks the audience, murders the room. I was like, yeah, I got a lot more work to do. But shortly after that, I got my shit together.
I never met Danny.
Yeah, he's great, man. A year later, I started touring, like for real touring. I had a solid 30 minutes, dope. 40 minutes. I was already I was doing a lot of shitty one-nighters. CW Kindle. If you're listening to this, fuck yourself. Booking hope you own a map and a routing direction. That guy was like the worst person to ever work for. Oh shit. You would be like in West Texas in the Midlands, in Odessa, Midland Odessa, and he'd be like, "Hey Mo, you want to go do Friday in Midland Odessa and then Saturday in Muncie?" I was like, Muncie. Indiana?
Yeah.
It's like $125 gig. I was like, do you know it's like I have to get off stage an hour before I get on stage to make that gig in time? Like, what's wrong with you? So I hung up on him. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. I did that for like 6 years.
Oh,
I toured with Jim Holder. Like, not just with him, but doing a lot of one-nighters, some clubs here and there, just earning my stripes. Some USO shows, some comedians were, very awesome and took me on the road. It's at the end of the special in the credits, actually, with Olivia Arrington, Carolyn Picard. They took me out early on. I was like 19, 20 years old. And they took me, did all those USO tours, like the MWR tours. And I just started touring. Then I was like headlining pretty regularly when I was like 24. I was headlining comedy clubs around the country and stuff like that. And then I did that, and then I joined a crew called Allah Made Me Funny. They came out of nowhere.
What?
They asked me to join them, and then we made a movie like in 2007, and that's how I met Chappelle. He came out to our show and with his family and surprised our audience, and then we became friends from there. And then 4 years later, I happened to be in San Francisco with Azhar Usman, another fellow member and co-founder of Allah Made Me Funny. And he was like, Dave's in town.
Was that a documentary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I heard
it was like a documentary / some stand-up. It was like 30 minutes of stand-ups and documentary footage. Okay. It was, I feel like, I watched that. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a baby. You're almost embarrassed of it. You know what I mean? But it's not. It was a huge learning experience. It was like gaining a master's in comedy or, I would say that. It was like to raise capital, to make a movie, to put it out in theaters independently, to then tour the world. We toured South Africa, Australia, and then we went on to like tour globally. We did the Apollo in London. We did like 25 cities plus throughout the UK. I think 28 shows in like 30 days. One stint was like the most hilarious tour, and I wish we had it on film. We had like a really great successful run of doing Holland and throughout Scandinavia and Australia and South Africa. It was crazy. And so Dave always respected the fact that we were so indie and we were able to tour the world. We were touring mainstream audiences overseas before it was like a thing. It's just a thing now. It's just become a thing now. People
for American comics to go do mainstream overseas.
Yeah, like it's like a regular, for sure, like regular thing. Before it used to be a few guys that are either super famous or guys that lived in those countries for X amount of time and built up their audience and created their fame in that country before, you know, all this popped off now, especially with the Netflix mania.
So that's one of the things that helped change it, you think, is like Netflix putting out specials on people is what made it open up internationally?
I think YouTube is the one that did that first, you know, having the ability to even like for other countries to be able to see what stand-up is, because stand-up comedy is one of the indigenous art forms to America. So it's like hip-hop, jazz, and stand-up comedy. Now those hip-hop and jazz already spread like wildfire throughout the world. Like I was in Lebanon and I saw graffiti of Biggie Smalls with a tarbouche, you know, a traditional hat on top of it. I was like, this is in Lebanon, Beirut. So it's already spread.
Yeah.
So now you have stand-up, which has its history. People are familiar with the greats, but don't really know the art form entirely and didn't have their own generation of comedians in those respective countries.
Well, it's blowing up in Mexico. Mexico, like Comedy Central set up shop. Netflix is putting out multiple specials on like Carlos Vallarta, Franco Escamilla. Only because, like what you said, where it used to be all about like guys like Polo Polo, which was a different structure. It wasn't stand-up. It was more like storytelling and like jokes or something. Right. But this new American stand-up format, these kids got on YouTube and translated, or they speak English, or they figured it out. But now they're like, de hecho, estaba aquí en mi rancho y algo sucedió, you know? And so some of these guys, you could see them and it's like, oh, this is the fucking Mexican Louis C.K. Or that might be a bad one to say.
Too soon.
No, that's not too soon. It's fine.
But yeah, man.
So I got a question, piggybacking on the Houston thing. Do you have any insights on the Laugh Stop and what it was like for maybe fans of Chingo who don't know what the Laugh Stop was?
I never had a chance to go check it out.
It's the Laugh Stop is probably one of the sore spots for me in Houston comedy. I think for a lot of comedians, it's like one of the most beautiful things and like the saddest thing that happened. So the Laugh Stop is an iconic venue that was in Houston and also in Austin, I believe. I'm not sure if they had any other cities, but Bill Hicks is like very well known in that. Sam Kinison is known in that. The Texas Outlaws, you know, from Andy Huggins, Jimmy Pineapple.
Was Mitch Hedberg?
No, Mitch Hedberg was there. He was touring. This is way pre, but it was just like 80s, and then the rise and the kind of like the dull moments in the early or mid 90s, and then the rise of it in the late 90s, and the club would have like Mitch Hedberg. When I walked into that club, the headliners were like Mitch Hedberg, Dave Chappelle, Louis C.K., Joe Rogan. Even back then, my God, man, it goes on and on. Like every person that you love and like admired went through. Dave Attell, God, it just keeps going, man. So there was like major Class A comedians that were coming through there, packing the place out. It was just an incredible place. Unfortunately, the guy who ran it at the time, who I won't name, was probably unsuited to mentor comedians and probably should have, cared about the club a little bit more in its future. And unfortunately, that made it all like topple down. And, he kind of didn't treat me that great. He was just like, I was 18 again. I was like 17 when I first walked in that place. I was 18. He was like, you need to hang out here all the time. I was like, bro, I'm going on the road trying to be a better comedian.
You're like, bro, I'm in high school.
Yeah, I just graduated. Number one. Number two is like, I'm going on the road. Like, you're gonna be upset with me that I
like hold it against you that you're working,
that I'm working or trying to get better on the road. Like, what's wrong with you? So I noticed immediately that he wasn't the best, route for me. And I noticed that a lot of guys would get stuck in that circle and trying to be at the Laugh Stop all the time rather than work on their craft and be on the road. So that's why I chose to hang out way more and be at the Comedy Showcase, which had juggernauts there as well come through, like Ralphie May, who came out of the Comedy Showcase and was mentored also by Danny Martinez, and he's the one who gave him the shot before, when everybody wouldn't, because he was so overweight. They were concerned that what might happen to him on stage. He's much bigger than he was now, or when he passed away. So it was just like the Laugh Stop was like the spot, and it's really iconic, and it's a lot of people have recorded their records there, like
Dane Cook,
Joe.
Right?
I think Dane at the time was Dane was hitting it
Joe's
up like
first
crazy.
one?
Joe Rogan's first one. I mean, my God, man, Laugh Stop. I believe in Austin, Bill Hicks filmed his special there. You know, like it's an iconic place, and it's devastating to see it go from Houston. Now it's become like a corporatized, you know, with the Improv, and I'm glad it at least exists, so it gives you know, a platform for comedians. But there's just this character that was so unique, that it held such a unique place in stand-up and its history, man. It's fucked up that it's gone, man. Like Tommy Chong used to come through there. Like everybody, Doug Stanhope. My God, Doug Stanhope, I think, shaved his balls on that stage in front of a live audience. Like, that was pre-cell phone footage, that's for sure. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. That place was just like insane.
And it was like a hangout as well.
Pablo Francisco used to pop in there all the time. Like, it was definitely a big hangout. And quite frankly, I kind of avoided that. You know, I kind of avoided that, and I kept my eyes on the prize. Like I had to focus on being a better comedian. And don't get me wrong, I had a good time here and there. You know, of course I did. Yeah. But that wasn't like, if he treated me a little bit better, if I felt more welcomed from the guy. And then he left, you know. And Danny would tell me that all the time, man. Danny would be like, don't even sweat it, man. These guys don't last. Nobody, like, these guys don't last. He would tell me all the time, man, focus, keep your eyes forward, stay in your lane. Trust me, the real ones, they'll show themselves to you, and then they'll be real ones in your life. Other guys that are just like in it for the short term, trust me, they'll disappear. And he's right, man. So many guys just like.
Well, yeah, this is definitely a long-term type of game.
Oh, for sure.
Like the commitment.
Yeah, they say 20 years for overnight success, bro.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
hey, man, I gotta give it up to you, bro. You popped it off, man. It's like
I'm trying to finagle it.
You didn't finagle it, man. You did it with hard work, determination, and talent, man. It's like really dope, man.
So we're hitting my 5th year this year coming up, 2019. We're excited about, hitting all the markets and having the fans come out and, just paying my dues, I'm a white belt, earning my stripes.
You're not a white belt. You're past the white belt, bro.
Earning my stripes. I got a couple stripes. I got a white belt with a couple stripes on.
No. There's no such thing, I don't think. I don't think that even exists, bro.
What's after white?
Blue.
Okay, maybe I'm a little teal. Little blue belt.
No, you're
baby
more than
blue belt.
I have a question for you. What did when you told your mom I'm going to be a stand-up comedian, what did she have to say to that? Was she supportive?
Said Canadian. Why do you want to be Canadian?
we came all the way to America.
I was like, what's the matter with you? You get better rights here. No, I mean, she didn't even know what it was, and she was definitely just concerned for my future, just like any mom would. She's like, what is this thing? You can go tell fucking jokes? You can make money on this? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, not right now. It's going to take 15, 20. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you should always tell me, like, you can be successful doing something else and being close. And she would try to bribe me because I was trying to get into like the Stardome, for instance, in Birmingham, Alabama. And before I left, she was like, how much they paying you? And I lied. I was like, $300. She's like, I pay you $5 to stay. She didn't even have it. I was like, no. And I was only getting $100, and then I'd have to like show it to her when I come back. Cause I'm a kid, like I'm a baby, right? So I'm just like coming back, and I would stop at the casino to earn a couple $100 playing poker.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't even supposed to be in there. I'd just walk in and just play poker, and I'd wait till I win $300, and I would leave, and I'd be like, see, Mom, I'm doing okay. She don't know. I just drove 24 hours round trip and fucking stopped for 3 hours to try to make $300.
That's
and
crazy.
What if I lost? Yeah, it's crazy, man. So she was concerned for me, and she has every right to be. Like if I had a son today or a daughter today, and she walks up to me, she's like, I want to be a comedian. I'd be like, oh shit, I don't know, man. This business is the worst, and the best, but it's the worst. Mm-hmm. So I would be really afraid for it too. So it was tough. Yeah. But the moment where it really turned, there was a couple of things. One being on like this huge Egyptian show with Bassem Youssef, who's like the Egyptian Jon Stewart at the time before they ran him out of the country. He had like 80 million viewers, and that was to her like, And then when she saw me at Radio City with Chance and John and Dave and Hannibal, she was just like, oh my God.
Yeah, but that was like recent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It took 20 years.
Yeah, but for her to really grasp.
I see what you
like you gotta imagine it. Like my mom, she's seen me like in the smallest venues and clubs once or twice in her life, and then I just tell her like these things are happening, and then she just fast forward, and this kid's been telling you his mother for like 20 years, I have this vision, I know what's gonna happen, I see it, and then she sees it. That's a big fucking, like, she was, again, like, it was Radio City, 6,500 people. Like, I had to follow Chance, bro. I had to follow Chance right after, like, his Grammy wins and an hour set of just murder and energy and, you know, Problem closing with that. I'm like, what are you talking? Like, I got to follow that. 5 minutes after I did 15 minutes up front. I got to come back in 5 minutes right after him, after a 10-minute intermission. People come back.
Oh, after intermission, that's hard.
Yeah, and that's why I earned the respect of John that night, of Stewart. That's when we became like, oh, this guy's the real one. I was like, oh, you are the real one.
You held it down.
You are the, you know, like, it was one of those. That was the night that my mom was like, all right, I'm going to stop talking about this.
I want to give you props, man, for representing, like your culture and your style on stage with what you were wearing. Like, can you describe, like, the swoop? Was all that custom? Like
everything. I designed all that. So I designed the jacket. I designed the shirts. I wear the shirts. That's designed so the piece itself that's underneath there. Some people look at it and like, is that an apron? Only white people. I'm like, fuck yeah. And
my nanny.
And my nanny.
This morning she's like, pensaba que era adelantada.
So funny. It's
so
adorable.
tell us.
So I just started, like, you know, it's all about influencing society as you go. You can't, like, it's like people are taking from my culture on a regular basis, right? So, like, hummus is like a thing. They're just selling it in, like, Tupperware.
Yeah.
And bastardizing it and not even serving it properly. And I'm like, just furious. Might as well. So this checkered pattern is from a kafaya. It's a hatta, you know, in Arabic. And it's each one, you've seen the red ones that they wear on their heads, and you see the black and white ones, and each one is designed for a particular tribe, an Arab tribe. They're all come from Arab tribes. Like, Saudi Arabia is the tribe of Saud. Like, they are a tribe. Qatar, also a tribe.
Different
tribes. Different countries, different tribes. So they have different stripes, different lines on them, different movements on them. So I decided, you know, I like extended T-shirts. Yeah. I like them a lot. That's what I normally buy. I don't like no crack coming out when I bend over. I want long T-shirts. And so I was like, oh, why don't I just add, you know, the swoop, and add it on there, and I have different designs of them, like I'm wearing today with the 2 triangles. But I wanted to make that. And then so, I've been designing them, doing them for years. And that logo on the back, it just says Mo in Arabic.
Okay,
that's what I was asking.
We saw your logo pop up, like production credits and everything.
Yeah.
Well,
it just says Mo in Arabic. That's all it is.
My mom's favorite place to go is Lebanon, by the way. So she brought me back my nameplate in Arabic, and I said, oh, I gotta go get that tattooed. And I went and I got my name in Arabic tattooed.
Did you really?
Yeah, because of the whole nameplate that I have. And every time I'm wearing it, they're so confused.
You can pass.
I can?
Yeah.
They're so confused. They're like, okay, why are you wearing that? You
A
speak
lot of people
Arabic?
do-
I'm
I've
like,
seen that
no.
happen a lot,
Yeah.
though. A lot of people do that. I see a lot of women do that. I'm like, oh, you Arab? It's like, no, I just have it.
Yeah. My mom brought it back. She loves it. I mean, she has all sorts. I mean, you go to her hair salon, and she also caters to a lot of the Muslim women. So she's one of the, that's why.
Yeah,
so, you know, to be able to wear the hijab. So she'll take them to the back and she'll cover it. So a lot of the Muslim men respect my mom for that. So they'll send, hey, go to this hair salon. They she'll actually take private in the back. And so she'll cut their hair, whatever they want in the back. So my mom, a lot of her clients are.
Your mom's a gangster too, man. She's like, listen, we found an untapped market.
She's like the Harriet Tubman of
mira. Esposa de Mohammed.
Yeah. So like she has a bunch of them. So it's like these women always come to my mom, and I love it because it's like she's one of the few, and she's never. What they always tell my mom is like, anywhere we go, they're always saying, no, we can't. We don't have a private area for you. Like
we're not going to move our
chairs just so that you can get a haircut. But my mom has always done it. So that's her clientele is a lot of Muslim women, Middle Eastern women. It's crazy. Yeah. So my mom goes every few years with one of her really good friends to Lebanon. That's her spot. Yeah.
Your mom flipped that into like Arab vacations.
Yeah. Slanging baklavas out the
bag.
Up,
bro. That's hilarious.
It is. It's really hilarious because the first time she went, she calls and I hadn't heard from her, and I was like, oh my God.
This is one of her Lebanon trips?
One of her Lebanon trips. And I'm like telling my sister, I'm like, man, have you heard from mom? She's like, no. I was like, me either. I'm like, man, what's going to happen? And she's like, I don't know. And so then she calls and I'm like, well, I'm glad you made it okay. She's like, yeah, I'm good. And I hear in the back, like all this, And I'm like, what is that? She goes, oh, they're just having a war on the other side.
But
She
don't
goes,
worry
the
about it.
war,
We
they're
cool.
fine. We're
For
fine.
real though?
Yes.
Oh my
The war
god.
way down there.
So I guess
Damn.
Israel or something because
they were
they're shooting because my mom's friend is Christian, so the whole thing. So
It
I'm
has
like,
nothing to do with the Christian thing. I think. Anyway, it's a longer conversation.
yeah. But I think she was like saying, oh well, where Misha lives, it's the Christian side. So she's like trying to explain to me. I'm like, wait, so there's a war going on and you're just okay? She goes, oh no, it's
You're
fine.
on vacation at
You're
a
on
war-
vacation, yeah.
war zone?
She's like, it's fine. I'm telling you. She's like, don't worry about it. She's like, we're good. She's like,
Yeah. I
she's
already
like,
know.
yeah. She's like, fine. She had no problem with it. And I'm all
It's
like,
sad, but she's right.
yeah. And I'm all calm. I said, Mom's in an area where they're having a war. I'm like, I don't know if she's okay.
You cut to her. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
She's sitting there eating hummus.
No, she's loving
Yeah.
it because she's like all the food. She's like, I can't ever sit up. She goes, I can't take it anymore. She's like, I'm just gonna wear stretch pants. She's like, every house we go to,
You gotta eat.
she's like, you have to eat. She's
no,
like,
no, ungodly amount of food.
yeah, and it's like served. The entire table is served. So
Yeah, that's why
and-
we laugh at Thanksgiving. We're like, this is every weekend.
Yeah.
You know? We make 9 dishes every weekend. What are you talking about?
Every time my mom goes, you want to go to Misha's house? I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm gonna pass going on Misha's house. She's like, because it's like, try it here,
Yeah.
eat it. I'm like, no, I'm full. I'm good. No, you have to eat it. We still have she's like, it's just food after food, and I'm just food everywhere.
You familiar with the restaurant Fadi's?
Yeah, of course.
You fuck
Yeah.
with it?
Yeah.
Oh, I bet you guys.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Fatties. Fatties is on point, no doubt. I'm not front, but there's this other spot too called Tahini Plus. Tahini Plus, bro. Son, Tahini Plus? Yo, son!
Man.
Woo!
What
Where's
side of
that?
town?
I was-
What side
yeah.
of town?
That's what side of town it's on. It's right off of I-10 and
That Ric Flair
Exit.
move.
Bro, listen, Tahini Plus. I can't even. They've delivered to the show that my mom actually when we did the shows. Of course, when we did the shows in Sugarland with John and Dave, I was like, Mom, I want to treat my friends and this and that. So my mom told me about it. She's like, Tahini Plus, I got you. She's like, don't even worry about it. I was like, no, I'll do it. She's like, it's my gift. So she just like calls them up, bro. The spread was I opened it up. I was like, they're about to eat home. Like they're about to eat like they're at my aunt's house, like at my mom's house. Like it's just gonna be that
Dude,
kind
where
of food.
is this?
Yeah, you'd have to look it up. I'm not gonna lie, but it's off of I-10 and something.
Off of,
It's off of I-10 and bro.
Wow.
Listen, the lamb, get the mensef, man. You just like if you like lamb and yogurt, bro, you just gonna lose your mind. It's like to me, that's the mountaintop in Houston.
Fuck yeah.
That's it. Yeah, it sounds like,
My
We're going right after this. We're going.
yeah, my mom's friend always says though that what she says is the buffet is cool, but when you order a la carte, that's the legit
100%.
like where the real food is. So she's the one that introduced us to Fadi's, but she'll say like, yeah, that's where we go. Like, it's almost like
to get your fix.
yeah, to get your fix. She's
Yeah.
like, but the real legit places where you actually have a menu and you're like ordering a la carte.
Yeah, I don't want to disrespect fatties now.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
order it.
exactly.
Want no beef.
Like, yo,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want no beef. I'm
Yeah.
just saying they're on point too. They're almost on point. Everything's on point.
Yeah.
Like that. I also like Abdullah's, man, on Hillcroft and 59. Man, they always treated me right, and they have like legit food. You can get that. It's not you get like specific meals that they
Yeah.
want, and they rotate what they cook on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, excuse me. And they have a bakery in the back. And I used to always like because all right, we just after the boxing gym, me and Ray would just smoke weed and just have a good time. And sorry, Ray. And then we just drive around, and then we'd be driving by there, and they start, they have the bakery, so I just pop in. I'm like, "What's up, guys?" And just get some fresh pita right out of the oven. That's the spot.
There's
though.
a place
I've
also
noticed.
on Eldridge called La Petite. I don't know why that's called that, but
Listen, I'm not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah.
Any Arab places like La
La
Petite,
Petite, yeah.
It's French. It's a little bit of
highfalutin
French
French ass.
influence.
No, I
but
don't
it
think
was
so.
one of the, it was
Well, the French, they colonized
Yeah.
Syria and definitely Lebanon, and then I've got it all over the place, North Africa, Morocco, and stuff. So they speak French and they do that, and so I could see like some Arab guy open up a restaurant,
Le Petit.
Le Arabia.
Yeah.
Dude, just no.
Le Abdullah.
Yeah, please don't let your name
Monsieur
something.
Halal.
Yeah, exactly. Monsieur Halal. I'm not gonna name anything after my conqueror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna do that, bro.
yeah.
Yo, so one thing before we, I can't forget to mention this. So you touch upon a lot of Latin stuff and how it, you know what I'm saying? Like how you look, you could pass for Latin and shit like that. The shit that got me is something that super relatable. Is the brisk wind thing, the Bell's palsy.
Yeah, the God.
We were both like, we were wondering the same thing. Like, what do you mean? Just go, tapate la boca. You go outside, tapate la boca.
Yeah, my mom's like, everything. Like, make sure your face
is going to get crooked. And as a kid, I'm like, whoa. You're telling me that I'm going to go outside and it's going to be cold and now my face going to be crooked? I was like, that doesn't even sound scientific. And your fucking joke about it is like, hit it. Hit it on the nail.
So it is true.
Yeah. No, I had that happen to me. No,
yeah,
it's
well, I know it is, but I just don't know if, sometimes it's embellished on stage.
Every single thing that I did in my special is 100% based off of truth.
Real life, okay.
Like I would say like the majority, every single thing in my special is based off of truth and with some punchlines, of course.
Sure.
But it's all like my closing thing at the end, that was real. I had some ridiculous like nunchucks and long knives. I used to like practice and take different martial arts and stuff. But I was like, this looks shady as shit. And I had a lot of weed. And I turned around and the guy did almost kill me. And that's what I said. I was like, because the Lord and Savior Jesus.
Yeah.
And he just let me go. He was like, you're right, son. Like that thing is true. The left hatawa, the brisk wind thing did happen. Yeah. Man, I started feeling like weird the night before, but I had a tooth root canal done. So I was just like, it's probably like lingering numbness. And the next day I was like, holy yeah, I was like, oh my God. That whole thing happened. I was freaking out and it's true. And my mom was like, you're fine. Just put
olive oil.
And that's it.
I'm
You're
just
good.
A greasy freak.
I was like, yeah, that's right. I was like, bro, no, it's 100%.
When I was growing up at this man at church, same thing happened, right? It was cold. He had just showered. He went out. So he goes up to the front. He's giving his testimony. And I'm in the front. And I'm like listening, and he's like, well, we're praying for you. And they're like, we're going to pray for him so that his face can go back to like normal.
Oh, yeah.
And, the whole thing. And then when I turned around, I looked at my mom, she goes,
like
yeah, I told you. Yeah, like I told you, it really does happen. Yeah, exactly. She was like,
Exhibit A.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
She's like, there you go. That's your living proof. It can really happen. But I still didn't believe it because it's like, no one else says that. No one in any other culture have I ever heard them say, cover your mouth because your face is going to get crooked. Have you?
No, I'm not sure. This is the first time I hear about it in Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
it's like huge.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
We're so similar.
Yeah.
We're so similar. I mean, Arabs were in Spain for 700 years, and it's like we're all like cross each other. Do a cheek swab. You'll find all kinds of
23andMe
stuff.
shit.
Yeah, right.
I will never do that, bro. Have my DNA and shit.
Oh, yeah?
No, I ain't doing that.
I
know where I come from, son.
Yeah.
Are you seriously paranoid about that? Like they're gonna clone you or something?
No, I just don't want. I just feel uncomfortable that they have like a little laboratory with my saliva sticking in it. I just saw Minority Report, and I just freaks me out.
Sprinkle your
That's
DNAs on a crime scene.
Yeah, whoops. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Did you watch Westworld?
No, I can't. I started watching it a little bit.
All right.
I have like a hiccup about watching HBO right now because I passed on an HBO special when I did the Netflix thing. So I just been watching a lot of Netflix.
It's all good. Hey, on the record, Team Netflix. Shout out to HBO.
Yeah, shout out HBO,
for
bro.
Future,
I love them.
For
no,
future
I love
stuff.
them, bro. I love HBO and I love both of these partners. It's like I'm very happy about my decision. Don't get me wrong. Everything's going great, but it's just one of those things that I had to like separate myself from.
I just can't watch Westworld.
I just can't watch Westworld.
Game of
But
Thrones.
I watch the shit out of Game of Thrones. Yeah, I can't wait.
I got Santa Claus on the Game of Thrones throne.
Is that what that?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Made out of candy canes.
Bro, you're hilarious.
I don't know.
We're gonna get.
I don't know.
We're
I
gonna
didn't
get
know that
back
was
on.
candy canes.
Yeah.
I haven't. We haven't.
it is.
We haven't watched
It's the
much of
It's
either.
so good.
Yeah.
So what does an entertainer like you watch? What do you consume the most?
Man, I'm like a wide variety. I'll get into something and I just I soak it up, man. Like Narcos, I watch the hell out of all the Narcos, everything.
They're addicted to them.
The new one, the Mexican one.
Of course, I've seen it multiple times, and then I watched the not so good Univision El Chapo version, which is not bad, but it's all right.
Wait.
I watched all of it, 3 seasons.
The Netflix Univision El Chapo, the one that's on Netflix.
Yeah,
I like that one. I got hooked.
I got hooked, man. I mean, it's not the acting is not like my favorite per se. Yeah. It's not about like Spanish. I love actually, watching a show that's all in Spanish, basically. Like I prefer it. It's great. It's it's real, but it's just like not that good. But the story is what I'm attracted to, and to see like how the DEA basically just controlled how much drugs is allowed to be put in the space, like yeah. And then when he was just like, okay, I'm opening up a place in Malaysia, And we're gonna start,
lab,
we're gonna start opening up a lab in Malaysia. El Chapo said, and they were like, nah, he can't do that. And he was like, fuck him, I'm doing it anyway. And then a day later, they're about to come after him, or they did come after him, and he was like, all right, I'll stop the lab. They're like, too late, you out, bitch. I'm like, really? I mean, he's the most. You had him under control for that long, like that shit is wild. And is that, do you believe that, don't get me started on this shit, but for real, like that tunnel that he got out of that prison, it's definitely inside job, right? Like the government knew. Is that true, you think?
Well, there's theories. Like the one where, one theory is that the person who seems to be Chapo, who's putting on his shoes and going like in the shower area and then disappearing, supposedly that's like a body double that's like the inside job, where it's like he left another way, like they escorted him out, but now they needed an excuse to show the world and the media, like, oh, this is how he did it. So it's almost like the prison people and the Mexican government themselves, to save face, built a half-assed tunnel that no one has really gone through. Supposedly no one's really gone through it. They're like, yeah, it's completed, but it's dangerous. You might not want to go down there. Like I saw Vice on YouTube. It was a Vice segment. Yeah. And they were like, yeah, we don't know if that's even where Chapo went through or not.
So they just did it so he can disappear.
Like the time.
Look, mira. It's like actually like 25 feet like long.
Look,
he's gone, bro.
Yeah, it's Chapo. He's short. He's chiquito. He
All
fits.
of a sudden you hear a sneeze. Shut up, Shut the fuck up, bro.
The dude coming out. Have they left yet? No.
That's so funny, bro.
Yo, have you taken any like acting coach classes, stuff? No,
not since like high school. I did like so when I was doing stand up in high school, my English teacher again, Ms. Broderick, she took me to theater arts. So like, I don't know, man, this kid's been coming in doing original material and doing different accents. I think he belongs here. And that was the only training that I had. Yeah.
Well, hey, I thought you did. Because, I mean, obviously as a stand-up, as a performer, you're trained to have the commitment. You're trained on how to deliver certain lines. But even like a lot of like the face stuff and... You know what I'm saying? Like, how well defined your characters are. For somebody who's never done like formal acting classes, like it's like those 20 years that was your schooling.
Yeah, it was 100%, man. I said master's degree while I was doing Allah Made Me Funny. Like that's true, man. It was like it was a next level experience of, being the promoters and working with promoters and booking venues and then having to sell those things out and then, having to perform in front of, 1,000+ theaters. It requires a different flex of the muscle. And then, and then Dave was just like getting your PhD or something.
Yeah,
doing 600 shows plus with Dave is just like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And then you talk about like, making sure that I never get nervous ever again. You work with Dave that long, bro, it'll shake the shit out of the nervousness or celebrity. You don't care. You're like, oh, okay, what's up, man? Good to see you. You just don't feel...
Because you're in weird situations with a lot of different people.
You get excited. Yeah, because you don't know. Like, imagine Radio City, if I didn't have all that repetition in front of 60... Like, as I was walking out on stage, the stage director and tour manager, Sina Siddiqui, he was like, hey, man, instead of doing 20, you're going to do 15. As they're announcing my name, he's saying, do 15 instead of 20, then come up after Chance and do 5 minutes. This is all happening in front of Jon Stewart, who's excited his first day out of like the house and being part of something other than the Daily Show. And he's seeing this comedian being talked to and saying, edit your set to 15 instead of 20, and then you're gonna follow Chance. And I'm walking out, Moeller, and he saw me execute in that level. Like it requires a shit ton of repetition
and just focus, right?
Yeah, and focus, that strength, and to also know your material and time and length and adjust and switch and navigate while you're talking and your mom's in the audience and this and that and it's happening and mic techniques and everything else that comes with a lot of hours on stage.
So do you have any rituals leading up to a show or period as an entertainer?
No, I just pray. I say a little prayer to myself and then I go on stage. That's it. Some very simple.
Simple, man. That's fine.
Simple,
but powerful though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in my head. I think. Sometimes I think I just sit there. Sometimes I'm tired though. Sometimes I'm asleep, and then I walk on stage right after, like in the green room. I'll be like, literally asleep, and then somebody will be like, "Hey, you're about to go on." That happens too. So it's just like you just don't care. Like those situations that Dave puts you in are just like hard to follow.
Because you're having to hang and like. Acclimate.
High pressure situations, yeah. So it's either just execute or
deliver.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Will Smith thing. That's nuts. You know, having John, then Dave, and then Will, and then Jon Stewart, and then all surprises, and then, hey, who's this guy?
Yeah.
You know, they don't know me. Maybe a few people are familiar with me. Maybe the industry know me. People, you know, like, I've created a name for myself within the comedy world, but for the most part, they don't know who I am. You know, like, who's this guy coming afterwards? You got to keep your fucking just balls in check. You're like, come on, man, you got to get it. So, you know, getting those repetitions with Dave and those years before that all tie into this moment now. You know, 100%. The time with Danny teaching me everything and teaching me from like mic technique and teaching me about crowd work and certain tricks that you could do to get the crowd together and certain, you know, strategies that you can put in place and then implementing them. And Chappelle's the one who taught me, like, hey, man, you're a better pilot the more hours you have on stage. Excuse me, the more flight hours you have, the better pilot you are. Same thing as a comedian. The more hours you have on stage, the better comedian you are. And that's been my passion, and that's circling back to the Comedy Cellar. Comedy Cellar's been so good to me, man. When I got in there, it was just like crazy. It was like 17 years in the making. You know, I had like an hour and a half of material of fire, you know what I mean? So I got in there, it was just like, bah, 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 and I was doing, first week they gave me like a set. And then the next week it was like 4 sets. And then the third week, I swear to God, man, probably over 30 sets, you know, of that whole week. Like Friday and Saturday, I was doing 10 sets a night, which is like every single show that they have that night.
Oh, wow.
And then like Sunday 6, and then Monday, Tuesday a couple, and then you're just like, it was just crazy the amount of time that they would give me. Again, that's because I was like so ready, overbaked, so much material in the tank. And then when I came in just guns blazing. And then I got
Represent for the H.
Represent for that
Where this
H,
motherfucker
bro.
from, bitch? We been telling you.
The H, A-Leaf, baby.
Motherfucking Bill Hicks tried to tell y'all. Sam Kinison tried to tell y'all. Jesus
so
Christ.
funny. Yeah, it was crazy. So I got in there, and then it was like the Rolling Stone thing. They put me on the Rolling Stones Comedians to Watch. And then after that, I did Colbert, and that blew up. That did really well. And then Colbert, I just like was working hard on my hour from there and just continued to tour with Dave. And then I was really close because I'm just like in love with, I just am a fan of HBO and their work and their history. And then I went there, and then Netflix was just like, hey man, you know, they've seen me with Dave, and they're just like, oh my God, what's happening? And then it was just based off of global distribution, you know. It was like a 100% business decision, and also they love me there, and I love them too. And we had like all love between all parties, and that's how Netflix happened. And we're here, baby.
So you were in New York. So you were in New York for how long? Or
I mean, I've been in and out of New York for many years, but the Cellar in particular, probably the last 3.5.
So the last 3.5 years, you've been putting in work there at that
yeah,
particular.
that's been like, to me, that's like the holy grail of it's the Mecca of, New York is the Mecca of comedy to me. You know, you could, not to be cliche, but you make it there, you could really make it anywhere. It's a tough room. You can go up in New York without the Cellar. Just forget about the Cellar. You can go up in New York any given night, probably like minimum 5 to 10 times a night if you wanted to. If you were like hitting it, you could hit up more mics. Some of them might be shit, but some of them are gonna be dope. And there's so many shows from Brooklyn to Harlem to, my God, Lower East, you know, Lower East Side to, man, there's just so many shows. In the Village itself alone has so many damn shows. So you can go up all the time. So New York to me is where you do all the heavy lifting. You go on the road, smash, come back, rebuild, go on the road, smash, rebuild. You know, that's to me is like, and that's something I watched Dave do. Dave would just be like, New York, then the Bay Area, then LA, then
back to
cruise on. Yeah, he'd cruise on and fill up everything in between, like literally everything in between. And then like 1,500 shows the man did in like 3 years.
Damn.
So I don't want to keep you too long.
No,
so,
it's cool.
So let's go ahead and start to kind of like land the plane. One thing I gotta ask, man, is like what is your process on developing new ideas from like, oh, that might be funny, to like, oh shit, it's part of my hour or it's a bit.
Yeah. My process is not putting too much pressure on myself to think of something in the moment, and just more be in the moment and let it come to you. That's like, you have to live.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
live,
Experience
bro.
stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
experience shit. You know, if you're nervous about it, go do it. Anyway, go see what it's like. It's like if I'm not the type of dude that can just sit in a room. I mean, I can, but that sounds miserable.
Like in a vacuum, like, what if?
Yeah, right.
What's the thing with coffee? What's that? What's that about?
You leave Seinfeld alone.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that all. Yeah. I feel like I can do that all day, bro. I feel like I can just be like, oh, just throw me something, and that's the way I work. So the way I operate is I read a lot, I interact a lot, just constantly talking, not with any agenda. Like, oh, I have this thing. Let me talk about this person at the coffee shop with it. It's just
your antenna is just open and receptive.
Yeah, I'm open and I'm always watching. And then what I do is, I don't know how it really works, but it just gets buried in my subconscious. And then I just go on stage with like the first idea of what I want to do. And then all of a sudden, everything that I've been like doing the last 3 weeks just comes up on stage. Like, I'll forget about it.
Oh, you literally go up with like not like a loose script? You literally just kind of
no script, basically. But then I just go up. I have like the first thing I want to talk about, and then I take it from there. And then usually, you know, like
so
if
like
I do
you're
my own
riffing
show,
off of just thoughts, off your ideas that you kind of...
Yeah. So I know like the first thing I'm going to do, and then I'll have like one joke in my back pocket. Like, this will buy me some time because I just want to think about what I want to do next. Not really that, like, my heart's not even into it. I'm just like, oh yeah, Muhammad Uber drivers. I've had so many Muhammad Uber drivers. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, every time I find it, but I'm talking, but I'm thinking about, maybe I should talk about bidets. You know, like, I don't know. But it's just, that's what's going on. That's usually my process. But and then it gets more and more organized as I go.
What's your ratio from like writing to just writing on stage? Sounds like you do more on stage writing than actually.
Probably like 100%
on stage.
Versus 0.
Yeah, basically what I do is I just like write down the ideas, and then I just like try to organize them. And then there's just like this massive notes page that I've developed, and then I just read that over like a month later, and then I'll take out the good stuff that I want to use, and then I'll just save the rest, but I'll just take out the good stuff, then I'll put it on its own paper, and then I'll start dissecting that more, and then I'll think about it a lot, and I'll see it, and I'll think about it, and I'll see it, and then I'll get away from the paper, and then I'll just do it. That's
all the years of experience, man. That's mainly what.
But even when I first started, yes, it's true, 100%. But also when I first started, I would write like this here, do this, and this, do that. Oh, say this and say that, and then say that, do that, and then I just be like, I got this, and I just get tired of it. Like, this is fucking boring.
So it's more like
too robotic for you, too like routineful.
If I'm writing a script, I've written scripts. I can write scripts. But that's a different mind. I'm just like creating the characters and writing it out. So it feels different. But performance is just like, I take the idea and I play with it. And sometimes I'll just look at the audience for inspiration. Sometimes it'd be like a really lit, combination of people that I just ask the right questions at the right time. And then it just becomes boom, 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 boom. And then it just becomes a set. And it just molds that night. And then it's like, oh my God, people think that I wrote this, but I didn't write it. And then maybe like 5 minutes of that set, I'll actually get to use on the next set. Most of it will just be like, dump and do that. So the more you write, most of it is going to be crap. The audience is going to feel like it's great, but you're going to be like, this is just whatever. And then you just sift through it. And then you just keep the big nuggets. And you take the nice gold chunks and you put them aside, and then you do it again, and then you take those, and then you take the pieces, and you're like, I don't know how this is going to work together yet, but let's figure this out. And then you start thinking of the arc of the show, and then you start understanding like where it's going to go and how you're going to take it, and then you just do it. That's my process.
How often do you, rotate your material? So do you tour with it for 6 months, 3 months, or what do you?
The special that I just did, I've been touring that material for a hot minute. I've been working that shit to death. Like, the newest stuff on that material is the flag jokes.
Oh yeah,
the stuff about the flags was all brand new.
Okay.
And I'm writing a B-side to that for the next special.
Got
all
it.
the African
Okay.
flags, the Spanish flag. I'm going in on because I went in on white people's colors. Now I'm going on
The
other
red, white, and
colors.
blue.
Yeah.
So
he said the motherfucking the
Australian
American flag, straighten them bitches out and put some 50 stars, pop, 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 pop. And then the other one's FaceTiming with the British flag.
Yeah, Australia. Yeah. That's my one of my favorite. I'm sad I can't do that bit anymore. Like all that material is dead, obviously, to me. You know,
Yeah.
you can just visit on Netflix once in a while. Be like, hey, how you doing, baby? Just rub it a little bit. Yeah, it was
remember
fun.
me?
That was fun, baby. And then you just gotta let it go.
How long did you tour with that material before you put it
Years.
on? Years. Okay.
Yeah, I toured years with that. But there's like half of it, but maybe like 20. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I'm just throwing out arbitrary percentages. I don't know. Like quarter of it was brand new. Like I wrote a few months before.
Sure. Okay.
And then I just go to the cellar and then do it 50, 60, 70 times, before I did it. And then I did it with Dave, and then in front of large audiences. And then I was like, oh, this is dope. And the shitty part is like I did it one time because somebody was asking, come on, man, do it in an audience in New York. And I was like, yeah, I indulged because a lot of people haven't seen the special yet at that time. It just like came out. And then I was doing the bit, and then I started writing these new tags. I was like, pow, pow, pow. And I was like, I'll never do this shit again. And I just threw the mic. I was so mad. I just put the mic on
the new
stand.
tags were after you filmed?
Yeah, it was just like, pow, pow,
happens.
pow, pow. I was like,
Because that pressure's gone.
I was so sick and no, it's because I didn't do it as long as all the other material. It's not necessarily about the pressure. Is that I did it so many times. Now it's just like, oh, like now I'm just. This is if I saved it for another 6 months.
I got you.
It would have been like another 5 minutes long, probably, right? So I just was like, "Fuck this."
Y'all have any final questions?
That's it, bro. This was
I actually
amazing.
have so when you came here, you were in ESL, right?
Yep,
So you didn't speak English, or you did?
I did know I spoke English.
The Queen's English.
Yeah, Queen's English, yeah. Hello, darling. Yeah, hello, love.
It'll be on the right, ain't it?
Hello. So I heard you have an Arabic tattoo, eh?
Yeah.
All right. All right then.
I do.
All right, lovely.
Lovely.
Very lovely.
So you were saying ESL?
ESL, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
you
spoke
just
English. Yeah, I did. I spoke English.
So why'd they put you in
I
ESL?
spoke
Just 'cause
British
you were
English, so I would just walk around and be like, instead of asking for an eraser, I'd ask my teacher for a rubber, and she lost her mind. She's like, no, you can't do that. And then we moved into like the worst neighborhood. Like it's true in the special, like nobody did any fucking research. We're on Cook Road and Bel Air, like between A-Leaf, Clodion, and Bel Air.
Yeah.
And we used to walk to school to A-Leaf Middle
Yeah, I'm not
School.
walking around that motherfucker.
No.
Bro, I used to walk to school there. Like they threw this dude, I'll never forget him. He's probably in prison, I'm certain of it. But like Halloween, I was like 11. He was like throwing bricks at moving cars. Like this is Halloween. I remember running in my mom's house, running back into the house. Just, my mom's like, "What happened?" It's like, "Oh, it's just I was tired and we were racing back." And, I got like one pinche candy in the entire plastic bag.
Windshields, cops.
Yeah, I was like, this is an
adrenaline.
awful neighborhood. This is the worst. So it was just like I stuck out, and I met this kid, and he was like one of my friends in the neighborhood, and his mom, super hot. I remember her just being beautiful. Right? I was a little kid though. I'm a baby. So I opened the door. I'm so innocent at the time, bro. Kuwait was just like so innocent, They don't have any like Playboy magazines, don't have anything like that. They don't have nothing, right? So the innocence was preserved for a really long time. So and I was like, "What do you do?" Asking his mom, and she goes, "I'm a dancer." And I was like, "Oh, like a ballerina?" And she smiled. She goes, "Yeah, like a ballerina." And I was like, "Oh, cool, you're a ballerina, right?" And I was like, "Where's your ballerina outfit?" She was like, "Oh, it's all."
It's in
aside. I was like, okay.
It's in my whole bag.
Yeah, but I said it with a British accent. Like, what's your ballerina? Like this cute little kid. So then months go by, and I heard they got a new pet. And little kid's name is Robert, actually. So I go back to his house, his apartment. I'm excited to see his pet. And his mom answered the door. And I was like, "I heard you got a new pussy. Can I please check?
And may I borrow a rubber?"
I was serious. Exactly. I swear, bro. I was like, "Can I play with your pussy?" Just like that. I don't know anything, right? So she thinks that I probably figured out she's a stripper.
Oh my
And
God.
I was being a little asshole
Ballerina
kid.
with a nice pussy.
Yeah, 100%. And she smashed the door in my face. Bah!
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, "Oh my God, Does she not want me to pet her pussy?
Oh my God.
And I just left, bro. I left, and I went to my mom. I was like crying. I was like, she closed the door in my face, and then my brother comes in, and he's just like, what happened? And I was like, oh man, I lost my friend. You know, like he's my only friend in the neighborhood. Like, he was a good kid, and his mom shut the door. I was like, why did she shut the door? I was like, I don't know. They got a new pet pussy, and I wanted to pet the pussy, and he was like, no, that's not what you call cats here. We don't call them pussies. You call them cats. And I was like, oh, I didn't know what's a pussy. And he was like, just what girls have. You know? I was like, oh no.
We just got to end it on that note.
Yeah, that's it.
No higher note.
That's it. Don't ask your friends' moms to play with their pussy.
Vagabond on Netflix right now. Represent Houston fucking Texas, man. Like I said, the man had to go do Larry King, get that shit out the way. You know, do the little Will Smith, you know, shout out Dave Chappelle. But welcome to the motherfucking What Did He Said. Thank you, man. It's a huge honor to have you, bro.
Me,
we enjoyed your special.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Can't
Pleasure.
wait to see what you have up your sleeve. What the fuck you're putting out next.
Thank you, man.
You have our support. Y para toda la raza que está guachando aquí, este güey sí es camarada. Es el pinche doppelganger de Héctor, güey. And he's not a chain the way he's from. Like, he's not a chain. He does a little dance move like that. Vagabond. Mo Amer.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Man,
Appreciate
thank you
you
for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate what you do, man. I'm supportive of what you do, bro. It's amazing you put Houston on the map too, man. It's incredible,
man,
bro. Everybody's contributions to the Houston scene.
I saw you thanked like Willie D and Trey and Bun.
Yeah, they came out to the show. Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
Bun couldn't make it. His wife Queen had a knee surgery. Had like emergency knee surgery the next day. And you know, initially I was like, is he throwing that out there like a thing? And then I saw a picture of them with her having a knee brace on.
Yeah, the brace,
I was like, I know he wouldn't do that. You know? This is the devil playing with me, man. No, they came out. It was
that's
it was
awesome.
dope.
Yeah,
to
Trey's
have
from
them
the
there.
Southwest. That's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
of course. Trey,
Again,
Willie.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Thank you, man.
Links will be in the show notes
Thank you
too.
for having me. Yes, thank
For
you,
listeners
bro.
in the
For sure.
podcast show notes.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.